everybody! Oh man, it's been a long time. Want to show you some Chewy stuff. I kind of got to a stuck spot, I guess, and it was really kind of, I don't know, I'd made a couple of the underskulls. They didn't turn out right, so I don't know if I did this. I'm gonna go back and look. If it is, maybe it's a little more clear. I'm gonna put the clay in the mask and show you guys how I do that. All right, so we'll see. Other than that, let's see what else has gone on. Well, you saw, got a new dog. It's been a long time since I've done some work on Chewy, some videos on this, but the mask is the part that has me more concerned, troubled, I guess. Wow, and my hair is getting like, look at this. This is like, thanks COVID, and thanks microwave. God, I'm getting shaggy. Amazing. Anyway, just been a lot going on. The mask has got me a little flummoxed, but a buddy of mine got one. He bought his mask, and he's kind of showing me how things are put together, so I can kind of maybe get some more detail. Because the reason I do these YouTube videos is a lot of people, when I started making Chewy, saw it on YouTube, and it'd be like 1 minute of, well, here's a mask. I needed detail, so I started making detail videos. People seem to like them. Great, glad you guys are loving them. So that's what I'm trying to do now. And anyhow, let's see what we got. I'll show you what's going on. This is what I've got. So I'm starting to pour. You need about a 1/4 inch layer of clay in here. The first time I did this, I tried to pack it with just like smoosh it down, get it soft. I realized that was the wrong thing to do. So let me show you what I'm doing now. So the great thing about monster clay, which is what this is it's wax base. You can just heat it up in the microwave. And so I take a little pan, heat some up, and I'm just slush casting the clay in here. Because the thickness of this clay is the thickness the skin's going to be. And I don't want it to be too thick anywhere. First time I made this, I had way too much, and this was really, the skin was way too thick and super thick. So what I'm doing now is I'm just running it all over everywhere. As it's cooling, it's gonna set in a spot. So I'm just trying to get it slushed around so it kind of gets in a good spot and evenly coats. And see, I've got some in there. Still got some clay in here that didn't harden. So just take another chunk, throw it in there, 30 seconds in the microwave or less, and I'll be right back. Now this all this didn't harden or it's still soft, but I got enough that's liquid that I can use. So I'll just continue on slushing this thing around to get a little bit of blob. Don't worry, you can kind of smush it with your finger. It's really hot, very hot, so don't burn yourself. So there you go. So I'm going to do it some more. Now, one thing you're going to want to do is you want to check the depth. On my friend's mask, it's only about 1/8 of an inch thick, at least on the edges. So how do you do that? Get a toothpick. Break it off, because you don't want to stick it in there, and you don't want it to stick into the silicone. And then just make you a depth gauge with a little Sharpie. There's an 1/8. So now I've got that. Doesn't have to be perfect, because it's not going to be even anywhere. So now you can just stick this in here and see that's about a 1/16 of an inch. See? So you can just do your test all the way around. So let me go heat some more stuff up. All right, and we just keep going. We just keep building it up little by little. Get all the way up to the edge. It's okay if it runs over the edge, because you're going to end up trimming that off anyhow. And more. Continuing on. Now I gotta get the, once I get kind of a base going, oh, see I got a little blob going in there, so I want to kind of move that around. I'll pick that one out. It's a little bit hard to do this one on camera like this and get a good shot. That's in the microwave, so I'm gonna do this, and you see I still got some, it's still showing right there. It's a little thin, but that's gonna be where the mouth's cut, so that's not terribly bad. And if you stick your finger in there and it's still wet and slushy and soft and hard and like that, it's no big deal. You're gonna end up smoothing it out in a minute anyhow. One thing about this stuff, you can cook it a little too much, and this was a little too much. It actually kind of started boiling. So this is going to be really hot. Remember, this is wax. Basically, it's wax and clay. So you can reuse it, and that's cool. And that's a good thing. Downside is, when it's hot, it sticks to your skin. So be kind of careful. I've burnt myself a couple times. So you're just putting some down here. And I'm doing it on my counter because, well, because I can. But also, this stuff doesn't stick to anything. It's gonna be fine. And that looks about right. 'Cause I just want enough just to kind of cover the lips, because I want them to, you know, but not any more than that. So I'm thinking that's getting kind of close. Just barely covering them. So you can see though, I still got, this is probably not thick enough on this side. Let's see if I can zoom in and get it all in focus. Hang on one sec. All right. So you can see right here, this edge here isn't all that thick. It's not even, it's just a hair above what we want it to be. Let's see if I can zoom focus a little more. So that's only like a 1/16. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take measurements around here and see where I need to add. That's a little more than a 1/16. So that's getting close. That's getting close. That's getting close. So right up here on the forehead looks about right. And you're probably wondering about, well, what about all the holes you're putting in here? Remember, we're going to cover this in silicone, in fiberglass. So I'm not terribly concerned. I just want to see the thick. See, I'm going to have to add some to this. And then down here, that's a 1/4 inch right there at the lips. So I think that bottom part and the snout down here, that's pretty much done. This up here probably needs some work. And now you're looking at it, you can see how it's real rough. Well, guess what? This monster clay you can just work and you can kind of smooth it. But this isn't really thick enough yet, and I know that because I can just see the silicone through there. So I got some, I can pour some more hot on here because So I'm gonna have to thicken up this outer band right here. That's what I'm gonna call it. So need a little bit more stuff. All right. All right, so I'm gonna take, I got a little spot right there. I'm just gonna put a little dab. And right there. I don't want to put too much because I don't want it to run down. And now I'm going to work on this edge. I just see, it's filling in the little holes, and there's a little ball. See, it's already set. It's not really running on me, so now I can move around to the next area. Gonna need a little bit more, so grab some more out of here. Throw it in, heat it up. So I think for the rest of this, since you see the process, it's gonna be kind of boring just watching me stop, do it, stop, do it, stop, do it. I'm just gonna go ahead and time lapse this as I'm doing it so you can see what happens. So stick with me. Okay, so now I think, when I do my tests, I got about 1/8 of an inch everywhere. I don't see any real super thin spots, even around the edges, maybe a little there. So now you're probably wondering about all these little holes. Well, in the rough, you don't want to mold that into your mask. So you work this just the same way. It's just with finger pressure. Let me zoom in here. Okay. Using your finger pressure, you can add just enough heat to soften this. This is not the softest of the monster clays, because I think this is medium. It's because that's what I could get on Amazon. And you just work around it and you smooth it out. It doesn't have to be perfect because your underskull is not going to be perfect because it's just fiberglass and it's going to be a little rough. I actually have some chunks of fiberglass stuck in here. I'll pull that out. Take a little bit of my stuff that's still soft, put it back in there. There's one thing I noticed when I pulled the fiberglass off of this, some fiberglass sticks in here, some of the resin. So what I'm gonna do, if you see my other videos, is I paint the resin in here right on the clay and then lay the cloth on it, because I know this is wax and it's not gonna stick. I used to do surfboard ding repair as a kid. I learned very quickly that you could put wax paper over a ding and it would have the nicest surface ever. So this is kind of just doing the same thing. I'm just smoothing it out, and I'll keep working it with my thumb. Get a relatively smooth, even surface. So when I do the underskulls, and this time I'm going to do several underskulls before I pull this clay out of this mold. I'm going to probably try to do 3, because I'm figuring I'm going to screw the first one up and I don't want to have to go through this process again. So I'm going to make a batch, and that way if I have to make another skin or another mask, I break one, I've got it, and I have it in inventory. So just working this down, and that's what I'm going to be doing. It's just smoothing this out and getting it ready. And that's the process of getting the... So this is going to be the skin. And what will happen is, after I do this, I'll lay the fiberglass in here for the underskull. And then when that's done, I'll take that out, take the fiberglass out, do any fixes, do a couple molds, a couple underskulls. Then I'll take all this stuff out, and when I lay the fiberglass on top of this, it'll be separated from the silicone outer shell, or this silicone shell. It'll be separated from that by the width of this clay, by the thickness of this clay. Then I'll inject the silicone skin into this, in between the two, and that will form the skin for the mask. Then, after I've got a good skin for the mask, then I can start working on things like cutting this underskull, separating it to articulate the jaw, that sort of stuff. And that's hopefully will be coming up soon. But I need to get this stuff right, and now I need to figure out how to sculpt and get the teeth and all that, because that's got to look right too. That would be bad if Chewie's teeth didn't look right. So what I'm doing here is, I had a little too much curve right there, and so I'm going to cover that so it's not so sharp, and that way the fiberglass will lay in there a little bit better. Same thing, got a little bit of something going on right there. See, it's not perfect, doesn't have to be. It just is getting better and better the more you work it. And then see, I'm filling it, covering up all these little pinholes. You want to make sure they're all covered, and if you can't cover them, get a little bit of clay and work into them, because what will happen is the fiberglass will reach down in there and grab hold of it. So you want to make sure all your test holes are covered and filled back in. Because if there's any little gaps, any of those holes that the fiberglass can get into, it's going to want to grab in that hole, go in that crack, reach around, and then not come loose. And that's the other reason why I'm doing this, is just to get all the overhangs out of this so it'll pop out easy. Oh, see? Thin spot, opened it up. Gotta heat up some more of this stuff. All right. This time I'm not, I think there's probably just a fault in the clay. So let me go just take care of that. So what I discovered when I made the first mask, trying to do the silicone, this was way too thick all the way around. And so when I injected the silicone, or at least tried, used way too much silicone, and it makes it, I mean, silicone is heavy. And it was just, I couldn't have opened the mouth. I mean, the mouth was just, I've got it. I saved the mold, or the cast, or whatever you want to call it. I saved it, and as a reminder to myself of my screw up. Just keep in mind when you're doing this stuff, you're gonna screw up. As me and my buddy were talking, you know, when you get to building this stuff, it really comes down to do you build or do you buy? And I had actually thought about buying, reached out to a couple people, but it just wasn't in my budget. So I decided to go the build route. And I'm kind of glad I did. There you go. So by building it myself, I have learned a lot of new skills. That I wouldn't have learned any other way. You know, I don't have a vacuum former. Building this stuff does not take a lot of specialized tools, like maybe, you know, if you're gonna build your own armor, you can, yeah, there's lots of ways you can do it. I know a guy who did a Boba Fett completely out of plastic trash cans. Yeah, use what you got. That's what he had available. And it's a good looking Boba Fett. You know? That part's bothering me. But I'm not going to let it derail me tonight. My goal tonight is just get this to a point that I'm somewhat happy with it. Step aside, let it set, let it do its thing, let it completely cool down, and then just work it slowly. So right now I'm just filling all my test holes, and then I'll take care of overhangs and rough areas. There you go. Mission accomplished for tonight. Okay, so there you have it. That's all it is. Mission accomplished for tonight. What the heck? We're all COVID quarantined. Let's do something together. You know, this is what I'm doing. I don't know how far I'll get because I need the silicone to make the skin, but I might be able to do a couple of the underskulls. You've seen that video of how that works, even though none of them came out right. I wasn't happy with them. You saw what it looks like. So, this part I don't think I covered in detail, and I'm glad I did. So anyway, so that's what we got. Let's all enjoy the quarantine. Hopefully this will be over soon, and we can all get back to kind of a much better life. That would be good. So, there you go. I used to say peace and all that. You know what? Be good to each other. Later.